You and I have the same mandate.
All right.
Reflected in Isaiah 61 verses 1 through 3. It decrees.
All right.
The Spirit of the Lord God has come upon us. Let me see you say us.
Us.
To empower us to do two things. Participate and sometimes perform beautiful gifts of healing.
Yes.
Amen.
The Spirit of God is upon you. And all of us are supposed to participate in healing ministry. But some of us are not only supposed to participate, we are to literally perform healing.
All right.
Jesus said, these signs shall follow them that believe. When I say they shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover.
Yeah.
But it's not fair for me not to feed my child when I hadn't taught my child how to cook.
Well.
It's my job to feed him, but when I teach him how to cook, then he feed himself.
Yeah.
And so the mandate for the ministries, one of the mandates, we're going on offense. If God let us see 2019, we're going on offense and we're going to operate in the healing ministry. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me because He has anointed me to preach good tidings to the meek. He has sent me, point yourself, say, He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted and to proclaim liberty to the captive.
Amen.
And to open up prison walls to them that are bound. So the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. For He has anointed me to preach good tidings to the meek. Bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captive, to open up the prison walls to them that are bound.
Yes, Jesus.
You got captives
Oh, yes.
and you got prisoners. Captives are people that were just grabbed all of a sudden. You didn't do anything to anybody. Next thing you know, you've been captive. But a prisoner is somebody that sold that poison on the street and you locked up because of what you did.
All right.
Yeah. Real.
So whether you are guilty and you did it, or whether you are innocent and you're just a captive, God has called you and me to be healers.
Well. Amen.
You see, if I'm captive, I've got to forgive the person that mistreated me so that I can get them healed.
Amen.
And if I'm a prisoner, I got to forgive myself for living on
That's
being stupid
Yeah.
and getting myself arrested and locked up like an animal.
Yeah, that's right.
I got to forgive myself because God has forgiven me.
Yeah. Talk, boss.
And not only that, I've been sent. And God's going to use those things to anoint me. Now, let's keep going. To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. Let's talk about Jesus Christ's first coming. And the day of vengeance of our God. That's His second coming.
All right.
The first time He came, He was lamb-like.
Yeah.
But the next time He comes, He's going to be lion-like. So this is what this is talking about. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion,
All right.
to give them beauty for ashes. You ever been dogged?
Come on.
Well, guess what? You need to meet me. Because I can take you back to that situation and give you a God's perspective on it. The oil of joy for mourning. You sad? Hang around me. You'll end up being glad because I have something on me. What is it? It's the Spirit of the Lord. It's upon me. He has anointed you to preach good tidings to the meek. He has sent you to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captive, to open up the prison walls to them that are bound. You bound by self-pity? Get over it. The joy of the Lord is your strength. You bound by somebody that captured you? Pray for the sick. Pray for them. They have a sick mind.
Amen.
Oh, bless God's great name.
Amen.
The garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. You see, I'm so anointed that I don't care what your problem is. Let me preach to you. I'll shift the atmosphere in your heart. I'll shift the atmosphere in your mind. I dare you to let me preach. I dare you to let me preach. Oh God. That they may be called the trees of righteousness.
My God.
Psalm 1st chapter says, and ye shall be like a
Tree.
planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season, and his leaf also shall not wither, but whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.
Whatsoever he do it.
Be called the trees of righteousness, the plantings of the Lord, that he might be glorified.
My God.
Amen.
So in 2019, we're going on offense.
All right, Pastor.
Because the kingdom of heaven suffered violence.
Come on.
And the violence taken it by force. So it all starts with an understanding we are not victims of circumstance, but we are more than conquerors through Christ. When you say, I'm not a victim of circumstance. I don't care if the circumstance is cancer.
Yeah.
Talk to me, somebody. I'm not a victim of circumstance. I'm more than a conqueror.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's in the 8th chapter of Romans. Paul said, he was quoting Psalms. He said, we are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Yea, but we are more than conquerors through him that loved us.
Yes, Jesus.
Amen.
So we are more than conquerors, despite our sometimes perplexing circumstances. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. You see, every circumstance has an appointment to accomplish something in your life. All things work together for good to them who love the Lord. In other words, the reason why I'm saying that you are not a victim of circumstance, here's what I'm really saying. In other words, life's troubles do not define you. They refine you.
Talk, real. Talk.
Whatever you're going through, that's not what you are. It doesn't define you. It refines you.
All right.
It brings out the best in you.
Come on.
You want to be anointed to preach? It's going to cost you.
Oh, yes, Jesus.
Because folks don't care about how smart you think you are.
Amen.
They want you to give them your personal testimonies.
Amen.
Psalm 119, verse 67. Listen to what he said. Before I was afflicted, what happened, Wash?
Wait a straight.
See, so that affliction caused you to turn from your wicked ways. But now I have kept thy word. Now, before I got afflicted, I was procrastinating.
Yeah.
But when I began to get afflicted, then I came back to you, Lord. Verse 71, it says, it is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes. A statute just stands the same way all the time. Rain, shine, sleet,
That's right, Bill.
I may be going through, but God, you still love me. You haven't changed. You're mine.
Preach, boss.
You're still on my side. I learned your statutes. Amen. You know, some things you have to learn by experience.
Yes.
Paul says in Romans the 8th chapter, verse 31, what shall we say then to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us?
Yes,
So we need to understand whether or not God is for us. But if he be for us, everything's going to be all right.
Amen.
The Bible just says, if you have faith, and you got to have a lot of faith. No, preachers don't preach this because it doesn't sound good. You don't have to have a lot of faith. If you have faith as of a grain of mustard seed, Which means you don't need a lot of faith, you need consistency in
Oh,
faith.
yes, Jesus.
Come on. Come
You
on.
just need to keep the faith.
Yes,
Wow.
You just need to use the faith that you have.
Come on. Come
If
on.
you use what you have, you'll be able to speak to that mountain, and the mountain shall obey.